the day that the French announced their thing, the thing they did, that day, Hamas walked away from the negotiating table. They immediately increased their demands and walked away and stopped negotiating. So that we also warned that would happen. And it did. So, but sometimes, these guys don't listen. They do what they're going to do because of their own domestic politics, which is fine. But these are consequences of that. And by the way, let me tell you something.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Speak the Truth podcast. That was Secretary of State Marco Rubio letting you know that the moment France decided to come out and recognize Gaza as a Palestinian state, that all of a sudden Hamas wants to pull out. When they go and they make their stupid old announcements, I mean, he took it a lot further, and he was saying that, all of this is just a joke and that none of it really means anything on the international stage. And to be quite frank, he's correct. Now, I got to let you guys know before we get going that today's episode is actually being sponsored by ButcherBox. And rightfully so, because I like having great sponsors for this channel. I mean, there's nothing better than putting like good quality meat into your body. For those of you that follow this channel, good chance that you guys work out. You're good patriotic Americans. You guys do things the right way, and you care about what goes into your kid's body. And if that's the case, ladies and gentlemen, you care what goes about in your kid's body, you guys really, really, really need to take a look at what ButcherBox has going on. They deliver over 100 premium protein choices straight to your freaking door. Take a look at that. Look at that. Free ribeyes for a year. You can't beat that with a freaking stick. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were serious about fueling your body with the best, look no further. ButcherBox. They've got clean, high-quality protein without any of the junk. So if you're lifting weights, doing laundry baskets, whatever the case may be, ButcherBox helps you stay on track. And for nearly a decade, ButcherBox has led the industry with meat and seafood that's antibiotic-free. As a special offer, very, very exclusive offer to our listeners, you can get free protein in every box for a year plus $20 off your first box when you go to butcherbox.com/Rob. Go to butcherbox.com/Rob to get this limited time offer and free shipping always. It's butcherbox.com/Rob. Don't forget to use the link so that they knew we sent you. And yes, it is linked down in the description below. Now, let's just go ahead and get into some of the things that came out today, because Israel's got a lot going on for them. And I mean, quite a bit. Number one, we had Amir come out to be alive, which is huge. I ended up talking about that quite a bit this morning. We're going to touch on it a little bit this afternoon. I've just trashed all over Aguilar Day. And again, rightfully so. The man shouldn't have done what he did. But listen to what BB actually says right here in this video, because he's not very happy about it. You want to talk about, by the way, before we even get into BB, we're going to talk about the genocide that ended up coming out the other day. Yeah, it turns out that the International Association of Gentlemen Scholars, or whatever the hell it is, big fake organization. You're about to see why. But first, before we even go there, let's talk about the war crimes that Netanyahu was accused of.
False charges of Israeli war crimes surfaced in the international media. The ICC prosecutor, Karim Khan, that's the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court in The Hague, he said he planned to come to Israel to see things for himself. Before he came, he praised Israel's independent judicial system that investigates allegations of war crimes on its own. But on the day of his planned arrival in Israel, Khan suddenly canceled his visit.
Weird.
And that same day, he issued a shocking request for illegitimate arrest warrants charging me, the Prime Minister of Israel, and Israel's Defense Minister, Yoav Gallant, as war criminals.
I'm sure he had a good excuse.
This opens the door for false charges against the brave soldiers of Israel,
he's probably got a good
the United
reason.
States, and other democracies who fight the terrorists that wish to destroy Western civilization. We were absolutely dumbfounded. We didn't know. What happened to make Khan suddenly change his mind? What made him cancel his visit to Israel to personally check the facts? Only months later did we learn the real reason for the sudden cancellation. It turns out that a few days before Khan's planned visit, a female member of his staff accused him of rape and sexual assault.
Ha! Oh my goodness. Oh man. So you mean to tell me that he canceled his visit to Israel because he got accused of rape and sex assault? No freaking way. You don't say. Now, I wonder why maybe would be a possible motive for him to come out and accuse Netanyahu and everybody else and file for arrest warrants. And before we get into that, I just want to thank Scott Bevins for coming and gifting us Speak the Truth membership.
Khan feared that his career would be in shambles. It would end in disgrace. After all, his younger brother, a former British MP, was imprisoned in Britain for sexual assault. Khan thought quickly. He hatched a plan. He would divert attention from the charges against him by charging Israel and me with false war crimes accusations. And the plan is simple. Scapegoat Israel, rally the anti-Israel mob behind him, and thereby escape justice. Since then, another woman has come forward with the same accusations against Khan. Now, Khan has since been suspended, but his preposterous arrest warrants and his patently false charges against Israel have not been removed. They should be removed, and removed immediately, for justice and for truth to prevail. Israel has let in more than 2 million tons of aid into Gaza.
Yeah, we're just going to stop right there. We know they have given pretty much 1 ton of aid per Palestinian. I mean, that's a buttload of aid. Netanyahu has actually quoted that twice. Now, I got to admit, I kind of like this side of Bibi, man. He's coming out swinging and he ain't playing. And this right here is extremely, extremely valid. The fact that he ends up getting slapped with this right before he was supposed to come, he cancels his trip, and then miraculously he just ends up popping up with all these dang war crimes. Or I'm sorry, yeah, war crime warrants and all of that other crap. And all of it unfounded, by the way. And we're going to get into a lot of that today. You want to talk about just disproving a lot of unfounded crap that ends up getting thrown around in the media? Wait today. And there's a very good reason I'm doing this. And I'm going very hard on it here this last week because I'm worried, as you should be as well, that all of this crap, all of these lies, all of these accusations are going to spill their way over into the United States, period. There's no other way to look at that. The United States has been supporting Israel now for 2 years. 2 years providing bombs and munitions to carry on with the war inside Gaza. And the narrative that's being pushed is that the United States is supporting genocide. Well, that's a bit of a problem when you have a bunch of jihadists running around here in the United States of America. And if you don't think they are, stick around. You decide for yourself. Because the people that I'm going to show you are here in the United States, and they are very, very real. They're not going anywhere. Luckily, there is some people that continue to speak out for truth. And it's really hard with all of the false accusations that are going around, sometimes better known as lies. Now, with that being said, we're going to start by clearing up some of those lies this morning before people get stabbed here in the United States or attacked with a machete, like you're going to see here in just a little bit.
Mr. or Lieutenant Colonel in Reserves Aguilar will enjoy his 15 minutes of caressing global media attention.
You guys remember this, right? When Aguilar had first came out and he was sitting there on Piers Morgan and he just basically got told to his face that he's a lying pile of garbage. And then he sat there and he answered back that no, he wasn't.
I think what he's doing is tremendously dishonest. I think there are multiple cases of evidence, sworn statements by his colleagues from the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation that claim that he is not only not truthful, but in fact lying, fabricating, making up events, that he spent more of his time in hotels in Tel Aviv than where he was supposed to be on the ground in the 4 distribution centers, not 3. He's out of the territory, so he doesn't know the situation on the ground, but there are 4 centers up and running. And I think that...
Hey, listen, it's not clickbait. I just didn't add the second part, which is Netanyahu is done playing games. That man's over the international community's bullcrap. And that is very apparent by him actually calling out. And I don't think it's playing dirty. He's telling the truth. What just occurred, what I just showed you guys that was up on the screen about that freaking prosecutor is the truth, whether you like it or not. And he's done. He's done being accused of war crimes. He's done being accused of all of this crap. Because when push comes to shove, you're looking at less than a 1-to-1 Civ-Cas ratio over inside of Gaza. And I've gone over those numbers on the show a million times in the different ways that we can break them down. But the fact is that they are not attempting to commit a genocide. It is a freaking blood libel, and it needs to stop.
It is tremendously dishonest to be fired from a place, begging to stay on, begging to have a new contract, then being told that you are not wanted because you are substandard, you are not professional, you have had issues with your colleagues, and you are not wanted on the ground, you do not bring any benefit, you're fired, and then subsequently to go on this little media campaign that you have gone now in order to try to smear Israel. I think that is very dishonest. I think you are full of it. I question your personal and professional integrity. I question why, if this was the case, did you not only say how proud you are to work for the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation as you were working, but why did you try to be reinstated and renegotiate a new contract? Why, if you claim that you saw things that weren't all right on the ground, did you not document or report
he's going
anything in real time during the little time that you spent there, not in Tel Aviv hotels? And why are we only hearing it from you?
I mean, Jonathan goes off forever, and he brings up some really good points, but he lets Aguilar respond here in a little bit. Pierce ends up interrupting him. And everything that man just stated aged like fine wine. You want to know what didn't age like fine wine? This statement from Aguilar in response?
I would like to start by saying that I respect Mr. Conricus. I saw him on the news during the opening days of the war, enjoying his 15 minutes of fame. My wife was a public affairs officer in the Army, and we watched him on the news, and I have respect for his profession and for his opinion, and he is entitled to his opinion. What I will say is that, first, regardless of the status of my employment or how good of an employee I was, that does not justify or take away the fact that war crimes have been committed, not only verified by me as a witness, but also others that have seen it, to include IDF soldiers that are now coming forward stating that they were ordered to shoot at civilians. The sites themselves, where they are built in active combat zones, that's not an opinion. Anybody can look at a map and see where.
All of Gaza is an active combat zone. All of it. It's all an active combat zone, for the love of God. And by the way, this was like, what, a month ago? Where are all these people he said that are coming forward? Has anybody seen them?
They're built. Regardless of the opinion, that's
obviously
a war crime.
they're in combat zones. Yeah.
Yeah, all of Gaza is a combat zone. All of it is a combat zone. Now, this is probably my favorite one that we've got to bring up that ended up going out there, because we're going to trash on Aguilar here in just a sec and bring up Amir and all of that and how all of that happened. But let's talk about another one that ended up coming out, because we all know that the Amir thing is now false, right? But let's talk about another one.
Some of the world's leading genocide scholars passed a resolution this week declaring what many of Israel's critics have argued for months, that Israel's war in Gaza is genocidal, with the exception of the...
Really? Some of the world's leading scholars. Did I hear that right? Ladies and gentlemen, some of the world's leading scholars. Did he say leading scholars? That's what he said, right? Leading scholars?
Some of the world's leading genocide scholars passed a resolution this...
Yep, that's right. That's what he said. Some of the world's leading genocide scholars. I'm just going to go ahead and put this up on the screen. Just so you guys know, this video that I'm about to play has been edited slightly by yours truly. I have to state that before I play it. But what I edited it with, what's going to be put up on the screen in its place, is absolutely true, and I'm about to show you.
This report must come from the leading association of genocide scholars in the world, declaring that Israel's committing genocide in Gaza. What is your response to that?
Yep. You saw that right. Mo Cookie and Sheev Palpatine, who is a Sith without borders. Those people are currently registered. Well, maybe not currently. They probably took them down now. We're currently registered on their website. That is not a joke. Genocide scholar. Yep, the International Association of Genocide Scholars. And wait till you see when we bring this up. And God, you gotta love the free press. They have been absolutely crushing it lately. And I mean, don't worry. You're going to see them again here in just a sec. Let's go take a look at what the free press decided to put out there for the rest of the world to enjoy, because, man, did they freaking nail it. One of the greatest lessons of the past decade is that when you read a variation of experts say in the headline, you ought to think twice for yourself. And I will personally add, not just what experts say, but what anonymous sources say. That's always a big one. Yeah, Siggy, you already know, $30 to register as a scholar, but wait till you hear where the majority of them are at. This week, the International Association of Genocide Scholars voted on a resolution that accused Israel of committing a genocide in its war against Hamas. Like moths to a flame, the mainstream media ran wild. Israel is committing genocide in Gaza, Leading Scholars Association says, ran the headline in the Washington Post. Guardian quoted him. ABC News Australia, BBC headline, Israel committing genocide in Gaza, world's leading experts say. And they go a little bit deeper here. He says the problem for these publications is if you kick the tires even slightly, it becomes pretty obvious. And boy, oh boy, he ain't frickin' lying. The whole thing is a dang sham. On Tuesday evening, Salah Eisberg, a board member of Honest Reporting and contributor to NGO Monitor, tested that proposition. After exploring the IAGS website, he found that he could become a member of the organization for just a $30 contribution. He could be a leading genocide scholar for $30. This organization that purports to be a leading organization of scholars is open to anybody interested, he told the Free Press. After Eisenberg posted about his new membership on X, others joined in the fun. Newly minted genocide scholars now include Emperor Palpatine, the villain of the Star Wars franchise, Adolf Hitler of Gaza City, and our favorite, Mo Cookie, who turns out to be a cookie monster wearing a green scarf with the Hamas logo. Can't make it up. Now, that within itself is bad enough, that the people that were being quoted across mainstream media are just random folks that threw $30 at it and they became international genocide scholars. But it gets better. Their open membership is important because Eisenberg learned in his research of their website, 80 of the 500 members of IAGS all claim to be based in Iraq, a country known for universities with robust genocide scholarship. But it's even worse than that. Only 108 out of the 500 members actually voted. Only 108 out of the 500 actually voted. So contra O'Brien, only 21.6% of IAGS supported it, not nearly 90%. That figure represents 108 out of 129 people who bothered voting for the resolution at all. You can't make that crap up. So when I play this video, now maybe it has just a tad bit more context.
This report that's come from the leading association of genocide scholars in the world, declaring that Israel's committing genocide in Gaza. What is your response to that?
Well, I thank Jimmy Bob for coming in and gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Really, really appreciate it, man. You know, and this is the reason, right? Like, this is the reason why mainstream media is just falling off so flipping fast. It's not even funny. Airborne Professor, you mean I overpaid to be a scholar? If you overpaid more than $30, yes, if you are currently registered as a genocide scholar somewhere else and you paid over $30, you overpaid for your genocide scholar membership, believe it or not. It's pretty freaking bad. Well, they did come back and they did end up responding, but nothing of sustenance. Basically that they're just going to like stick to their guns on this. They said, they didn't. They said that it's open to artists, advocates, independent scholars, global majority scholars, marginalized communities, and survivors. That basically means that if you have $30 and a freaking card and a pulse and an email address, you can essentially be an international genocide scholar. And those are the people that ended up voting on genocide in Gaza that was claimed so widely over the news. Now, I don't know what's more like huge, right? That people were chomping at the bit so freaking hard to just say that this organization declared that like a genocide, or like, I don't know if that's sad. I don't know if it's sad that Aguilar was all over the media. I don't know, but I know it's all really, really sad. Chris McConnell jumping in, becoming a tree supporter. Now, this is taking place here in the United States, and this is, again, you know, I went over it this morning, but I want you to, again, listen to the words out of this man's mouth. This is exactly why I do what I do, because these people exist here in the United States of America.
Why am I migrating here? Why am I in America? The Prophet ﷺ's companions left Mecca to go to a land that had no Muslims. We are in this country purely for the sake of Allah. The moment you make this intention, you will look at things different. People will meet you different. How could it be that your co-workers know you as a Muslim for 10 years, not once you presented Islam to them? You don't know why your purpose is here. All you guys together, we are in this country for Allah.
As we're here living in the US, what is our role now? What is the way forward? Let me just quote for you an ayah of the Quran, and I'm going to try to encapsulate it. Allah is saying, do not obey the disbelievers. Don't yield to them. And then He gives us the process of what to do next. وَجَاهِدْهُمْ بِهِ جِهَادًا كَبِيرًا. And so make jihad against them.
What is your...
Make jihad against the unbelievers. Now, I showed that video this morning, and I'm playing it again because it's extremely important. Evan Reed, I haven't forgot about the Dark Lords of the Sith. Thank you very much, sir. I haven't. Appreciate the donation, man. Listen, every single time that those labels go out there and that the mainstream media is putting that out, where you have the International Association of Genocide Scholars that puts out fake media like that, what do you think that's doing here in the United States? It's radicalizing people. It's giving them another talking point, and they're not going back and correcting it. Maybe some people will issue retractions. Maybe some people will come out and say, yes, we failed to do our due diligence on this group. I'm even pretty sure when it came out and I told you guys about it, I was like, something seems off. I have to look into this group. It doesn't make sense. I was like, yes, this is what's being reported, but I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more research in it. Because all of that crap that you see in mainstream media ends up leading to this. Now, I know what you're saying, Matt. That's just a couple people protesting with like their, heads wrapped in scarves and stuff, standing on the street. What's the big deal, man? 1A, it's not that big of a deal, right? I would tend to agree with you. But the problem is things like what I'm about to put up on your screen here. And little word caution, there is some violence in it. And this violence is, I'm putting it up for a reason. Number one, there's no proof. And I'm going to openly state this because I'm not like the unconniving media. I'm going to openly state that there's no connection right now that this man was a jihadist. But I want you to pay attention.
I think I got him right here in front. He right there. Hey, bro. Stay here. I got one side. Got the other. I got this one. Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Drop it! Drop it! Hey, check the murder, bro. Get on the ground! Come on! Take this. I think I got him right here.
I mean, maybe it's just drugs that man was on. Could have been a million things. But it's kind of sad when you start questioning it, because over in Canada the other day, we had a man that was on a bus that was asking people if they're Muslim, and when they said no, he would stab the crap out of them. Over in France, obviously, we had a guy running around screaming Allah Akbar and just slicing people up. And this stuff takes place all of the time. All of the time. Germany's getting fed up with it. The UK's getting fed up with it. Everybody's getting fed up with it. And every single time the media ends up going out and stating lies like that, we end up having things like this happen. And all it takes is for one person to be radicalized to cause death. It is one of the most irresponsible things, in my opinion, that's taking place in modern day media, thanks to, our First Amendment right. Zohar coming in, gifting out a Speak the Truth membership. Thank you. I'm sorry, 5 Speak the Truth memberships. My bad. I am beyond worried, ladies and gentlemen, that it's going to happen. Now, there's lots of people out there in today's society that think that there is going to be a huge uprise and uptick in attacks. I'm not the only one. There's other people that are out there stating that it's going to end up coming out of Afghanistan, and that may very well be. What we're seeing is a lot of the different Middle Eastern culture countries. It's not even fair to just say Arabs because, Afghanistan's Asian, technically. We're seeing them actually like being brought together and all reuniting behind this like Palestinian movement. Right? This like free Palestine, they're being genocided movement. And it's all based on lies. To be perfectly clear, it's all based on lies. And so what is taking place right now is nothing more than a massive propaganda campaign that ended up brainwashing people. And in my opinion, it's no different than how Adolf Hitler was able to, brainwash the freaking Germans into starting World War II and throwing people in mass freaking concentration camps and gassing the crap out of them. Do I need to go back to the video where he said, attack the unbelievers? I don't think so. PJ Bartoletto says, Matt, thanks for opening your eyes to that empire crap. I have my Glock 19 in CCW soon. Hell yeah, man. Good job. Good work. Demon AOC says, take Tardio religion back to your own country. Or take Radico, not Tardio. Take Radico religion back to your own country. Bill Hoekstra, we need to watch what happens on September 13th in England with Tommy Robinson. Yeah, is going to be important. That needs to keep an eye on it. But honestly, I have a feeling that in between now and then, there is a very big probability that Israel ends up kicking off this assault in Gaza. Him telling the ICC to basically GFY today is on. I haven't seen him do that before. I don't know if you guys have, but I haven't seen him actually call people out. And I don't even think that's slander. He just basically told the truth for what happened. And so if we make it to the 13th, today's the 4th, man. September 4th. Oh, crap. Casey, if you're watching this, I didn't forget about you. I got you. It's the 4th. That is 10 plus days away. And I got a feeling Israel's going to launch their attack inside Gaza City between now and then. And if they do, you better believe that all these nut jobs are going to take to the street. What we've seen in the last 72 hours is this weird coordinated media slander thing that's going on, filled with a bunch of fake lies. Luckily, this came out today.
انت ايه شعورك ان انت هتطلع برا قطاع غزة؟
برا قطاع غزة عشانها حلوة.
حلوة؟ طيب تمام. أم عبد الرحيم، ايه كان رد فعلك لما عرفتي ان مؤسسة غزة الإنسانية بتدور عليكي انت وبتدور على عبد الرحيم عشان تساعدكم ان انتوا تطلعوا خارج القطاع؟
كان شعور حلو وكان اشي مفاجئ، بس كان في حاجات مخوفاني، فانا لما انتوا ريحتوني انا ارتحت. لما وصلت عندكم وارتحت انا اطمنت هيك. اما وانا هناك ما كنتش مصدقه اشي، ما كنتش خالص من اللي انا مريت فيه انا وابني.
Mike, that's not a hat.
عندي سؤال تاني ليك.
تفضل.
في رايك انت ايه المستقبل اللي انت بتتمنيه ليكي ولابنك عبد الرحيم؟
اكيد حاجه حلوه حتكون، مش حاجه مايله، حتكون حاجه حلوه ان شاء الله. وانا نفسي يعني متمنيه ان انا ارتاح وابننا يرتاح من اللي شفناه. كمان احنا عانينا كتير، مش ما عانيناش، انا وابني عانينا كتير والحمد لله. وانا بتشكر كل واحد ساعدني، كل واحد وقف معايا بتشكره، ثم من هين ثم من برا، من وين ما كان، من كل دوله، انا عن جد بتشكره.
Wow. How about that? He's alive after all. Now, I've got a huge statement by GHF that I'm going to end up pulling up here in just a sec. Bronx guy ended up coming in with 99, just throwing the hundo symbol at me. Really appreciate that, man. You know, I've said it before and I'll say it again. To me, those 99-cent donations, those $1 donations, those things mean more to me, I mean, honestly, than guys that have the ability to just throw a buttload of money into the chat and buy a buttload of memberships. While I do appreciate those, like, I also understand, like, what it's just, it is what it is, man. And so I really appreciate all of you guys that end up gifting those out. DA says, Matt, you are one of the most important voices in media today, or most important voices today. I appreciate that. You know, I do my best to make sure that you guys are getting brought everything possibly that I can. Now, here's another interview with his mom, and I'm just going to like play this. You guys can see the little words at the bottom of the screen. If you can't, let me know, and I will do my best to read them out for you. I'll just watch the chat as I play it, but I don't want to interrupt this. This is, again, Amir's mom. They let her know at the beginning of the clip that they're going to record, and there is Amir. But by the way, that's not his real name. That's a name that Aguilar gave. And people are so deep into this crap. People are so deep into this that they believed when they ended up coming out and stating that his name was Aboud, there was actually people out there be like, nah, man, nope, that's not Amir. He's not Amir. Like, they're too dumb to realize that that was a nickname that Aguilar gave him. But I'm going to play a big video for you guys in a sec, but I want you guys to listen to this.
تمام. طيب انا هطلب منك بس طلب ان تفهمينا بس ان طبعا عايزه قررت اذا انت قررتي تطلعي انت وعبود وفهد، يعني الكاميرا موجوده وهم بالتصوير حاضر، بس تقولوا لهم بالظبط انت عايزه تعملي الكلام ده بمحضراتك انت باختيارك بسلامتك وسلامتك. اتفضل.
انا باختياري، انا بدي اسافر مصلحه لابني، باخذ فهد معي ابن اختي.
She straight up says that she wants to travel out of her son's best interest, and I want to make that perfectly clear as well, because that's actually stated numerous times as we go along today in some of these videos that you're going to see. Why is it in his best interest? Because when Aguilar on July 28th came out and started sharing the photos of Amir, he painted a massive freaking target on his head. I need to stop calling him Amir. His name's Aboud.
وفهد هو ابن اختك صح؟
ابن
ابن
اختي
اختك
ولي عني ند اخويا هو بده يطلع معايا.
اوكي.
ولا عينيا وانا براسي يعني محدش ضغط علي، فكرت كثير ولقيت مصلحة ابني، فانا عشان مصلحة ابني بدي اسافر.
فرحان بايه؟
ماما.
قاعد مع ماما؟ طيب
ان شاء الله يا رب.
مستقبل زاهر
بتمناه
لك وابنك والفهد بعيد عن كل المشاكل دي
ان شاء الله يا رب. هي اللي بتمناه، وانا عن جد بتشكركم مش لإلي، للطفل هذا بس، عن جد عن جد
حبيبي.
I mean, that's great. He's sitting there smiling, and people should be rejoicing right now that he's alive, but there's a lot of people that aren't. Dylan comes in and says, question from the other night's stream, can the people calling out violence in the name of Islam be charged with inciting violence if and when that happens? It's a very good question. You're going to have to prove that those particular people speaking are the ones that actually caused that violence. Now, if they were doing that in a public place and they were screaming, rise up and conduct jihad and then sending people out after them, sure. But inside of a religious institution, and thanks to your First Amendment right, your freedom of religion, baby, you are allowed to do those things. You're covered, unfortunately, in this country by, using religion as, or, making an excuse for violence your religion, which it technically is in that case, which just blows my flippin' mind that, like, people get away with that crap. I don't even know how to, I don't even know what to state about that, man. Like, it's one of the biggest worries I have. Now, GHF came out with a very lengthy 12-minute long video on all of this, and we don't need to go through the background on everything that ended up doing with it, all right? But what we will cover right here, and we'll start at about a minute in, is that Amir was amongst them and shot in the torso, a shot to the leg, dead for anyone that says Amir is still alive and that didn't happen. Where is Amir? Where is he? Amir is dead.
And Amir was amongst them. A shot to the torso, a shot to the leg, dead. So for anyone that says that Amir is still alive and that didn't happen, where's Amir? Where is he? Where is he? Amir is dead.
That didn't age well.
And he died at the hands of the IDF.
That didn't age well at all.
In late July, when Mr. Aguilar took his lies public, he splashed photos taken of the boy across global media, knowingly misrepresenting his interaction to create a false viral story. That publicity placed the child squarely in the crosshairs of Hamas, who have benefited greatly from Mr. Aguilar's lies and the media amplifying them.
PJ in the
if
house.
The boy was proven alive.
It
would unravel their propaganda, expose Mr. Aguilar's lies, and discredit a narrative that Hamas has used to stoke outrage and violence. An alive, healthy boy doesn't serve Hamas. It directly threatens them. What is true is that Mr. Aguilar had a brief interaction with the boy on May 28th at our SDS-3 site, though Mr. Aguilar falsely claimed it was SDS-2, which didn't even open until early June. Mr. Aguilar's only words to the boy were, go home, okay, thank you. Let's watch the video Tony Aguilar recorded that day and listen to Mr. Aguilar in his own words.
This little young man here, obviously pretty young, he has food. Go home, okay? Thank you.
This little man right here, he obviously has food. Go home, young man. That's literally what he told him. There's no talks about how many kilometers he walked to get there. There's no, this is my name. There's no any of that crap. Just a little boy that ran up, kissed his hands. And yeah, it's a touching moment, but it certainly isn't what ended up coming out of Aguilar's mouth. Not even remotely close. Sky God coming in and giving out 20 Speak the Truth memberships. Thank you, sir. That's huge. Thank you. Let's see here. Yusuf Kura coming in gifting out 10. He says, it's so sad that what makes America great is being used against itself. You know, and I saw somebody had asked, like, how didn't the CIA or the FBI see this crap coming over here to America? Like, all of this misinformation coming into America. Well, they did see it coming. That's the thing. They have seen it coming, but they're law enforcement officers and intelligent officers, right? They abide within a certain set of rules. Most of them. There's always bad eggs, right? Like in every law enforcement agency, you're always going to get a bad egg, right? They exist. But by and large, they are very constitutionally sound. They do believe in the Constitution. They do believe in protecting this country. But they also believe in not violating people's rights here in the United States, because that within itself is more important. It really is. Like at the end of the day, like if you start sacrificing your rights for safety, you've already lost. Because at that point, now I got to be afraid of the government. There is a reason those inalienable rights actually exist.
After that interaction, which lasted mere seconds, and in which no meaningful dialogue occurred, the boy returned to his stepmother's home unharmed, where he lived until July 28th, the same day Mr. Aguilar unleashed the boy's photo across the globe.
Good at your work, man.
GHF has been searching for this boy ever since. And today, I have some incredible news to share. The boy is alive and safe.
Now, it's really funny because when I told Aguilar that and I told him he signed the kid's death warrant, he told me I didn't know what I was talking about. As if I was wrong. That man had the balls to tell me that I didn't know what I was talking about when I told him he signed that kid's death warrant. And out of his mother's own flipping mouth, earlier on, you heard her state that they had to do that. They want to move for his protection.
Falsely identified as Amir by Mr. Aguilar, his real name is Abdul Rahim Muhammad Hamdan. His family calls him Aboud. He is almost 9 years old. After weeks of tireless high-risk work by the GHF team, he and his mother have been moved to a safe and secure location. We will not be disclosing their whereabouts at this time for their safety and security, but we have every belief that they are on their way to a new life. This outcome is thanks to our extraordinary relationship with the people of Gaza, our humanitarian team, and American veterans who relied on the deep trust built through GHF's daily aid delivery to find Aboud and bring him to safety. They followed every lead, engaged in dozens of conversations with the community, and ultimately confirmed Aboud's whereabouts through his stepmother, extended family, and finally his biological mother. He was brought to our SDS in disguise for his safety. We verified his identity through a variety of means, including biometrics and the very shirt he wore the day Mr. Aguilar claimed he saw him killed. What followed was a high-stakes, multinational diplomatic effort. We are grateful to the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem and to other countries in the region for their close coordination with GHF to make this rescue possible. I'd now like to share with you a brief clip.
So that to me, again, when he ended up stating that they had to bring him in under disguise and that they have to get him out of there, that's very real. And you hear his mom say it in the video. And I almost feel like I'm beating a dead horse here. But literally sign this individual's death warrant. If there was ever a sign that you were an untrustworthy POS, on top of all of the lies that we know you already told, on top of risking the lives of the contractors over inside Gaza by disclosing sensitive security information, if there's any sign of that, literally endangering a child's life because you were fired and you're pissed off at the company, I can openly state that. Fired and pissed off at the company. Terminated, in his own words. Terminated. Terminated. It's funny that that portion of the story isn't being told anymore, right? Notice how nobody's really asking me any questions about that. Instead, he ended up flipping off the deep end, for those of you who are unaware, and barging into what the hell is it, man? Like the Foreign Affairs Committee. And for those of you that don't know, there's actually a new video that ended up coming out from that. And I'm just going to go ahead and engage you guys in this because I want to bring this up. This was him yesterday. And we didn't have the full video footage of what he is now turned into with his lunacy. But here's what he did. You ready? And this is staged. Make no mistake about it. He didn't do this on his own. He went on a little freaking podcast yesterday and then decided he was going to show up and then do this.
United States government is complicit in genocide. You have an obligation to the Constitution of the United States. I'm a disabled veteran.
Oh, you're a disabled veteran. Okay.
There's a genocide! There's a genocide!
You are all complicit in genocide.
Did he say mentally disabled veteran or just disabled veteran? I'm just curious. Maybe I heard him wrong. I think he said disabled veteran, though. Super Elite says, Tim Kennedy's new book, 50 Shades of Grenades. Anthony Aguilar's new book, 50 Shades of Genocide. What? Yeah, dude, you ain't kidding. He showed up in uniform to do this. Now, I should have looked up the UCMJ about retired military personnel that are receiving retired pay and wearing their uniforms, but I know you're not supposed to do that for political purposes. And I feel like at that point that they are able to cancel his freaking retirement pay. So that was short-lived if they actually end up doing that. Somebody said he's Section 8. I don't even know about that, man. But just wait, because there's something I want to point out in this video that actually takes place here in a minute.
Ma'am, you're not allowed to film in here. We told you this earlier. You're complicit in a genocide! You're complicit in a genocide! Eddie, there's a genocide! Eddie! Eddie, there's a genocide! Come on,
Eddie!
There's a genocide! You're complicit in genocide of the Palestinian people! You are complicit! Come on, Eddie! Eddie,
come on, Eddie!
Eddie, help us save them! Come on, Eddie! The Israeli terrorists are committing a genocide.
Now, as she sits there screaming, I want you to observe this lady right here in the blue. She's seen wandering around on the side of this video, and obviously there's somebody that's filming this and watching the whole thing go down, right? And just to save you guys from the screaming, I'm going to show you that at one point she actually wanders up right there in front as if she can do something, right? So, like, she's all up in their business. In my opinion, she is somehow associated with them, and so is the person behind this camera. But then what we end up noticing as this video continues on, I was trying to find this lady's name. I have no idea. Look at that freaking, like, I can't read that freaking name tag, right? But as this video continues on, you know, Aguilar screaming, they'll arrest you if they're going to arrest the veterans. Now, this lady as well. This one right here holding the camera with, like, the little red thing. All of these people were set up, and they all look like your typical libtards that you end up seeing taking place in this. So somebody told me maybe look into, I want to say it was like Act Pink or something like, I forget what the hell it is. But I'm looking into it, and I'm digging into all sorts of different people to try to determine whether or not they're involved in this. But this is a very clear, very staged thing for propaganda purposes. You guys see that lady walk up over here. Now, there's one that I'm actually really interested in right as they go to haul Aguilar off. All right, hold on. Stop the bombs, blah, 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 blah. You know what? Maybe I missed it. Look, here, at the end of the day, I already took the screenshot of it so that we can find it. So let me get that up there. That lady in red. That lady with the red headband. That's the second time that we end up seeing her in the video where she appears. But take a look at what's down there in her hand. Down inside of her hand appears to be Mr. Aguilar's beret from his uniform. Now, if that's true and she's holding his beret and she's shoving cameras in people's face, filming, doing all of that stuff, then 1,000% they're there. So the question is who are these dang people? Where did they come from? And if we're able to figure that out, then we can figure out who he's working with, Yeah. Gosh dang, he's got a massive amount of awards. Dude, Army gives away ribbons like it's nobody's business. And awards, number one, minus one or two, you know, like, I don't know. I have a different view of them after I turned a guy in for the Silver Star and a guy in for a Bronze Star for Valor, and they were both told that they were just doing their job because of their rank, and one of them you guys are actually familiar with. Hancock Faraday coming in, gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Thanks, brother. Greatly appreciate you, man. I believe that's your second one for the day. Last video of Amir before we get going, because, you know, everybody's, you know, screaming they're committing a genocide and they're wrong, but I really just want to rub this in people's faces because I got told that I was wrong so many times, that I'm freaking promoting genocide and that I'm excusing it and that I'm all of these things. Kiss my butt.
To the left, bottom left. مرحبا. كيف حالك؟ والله كويس.
That face right there is exactly why I brought that up. Because it's absolute garbage to go out and tell lies knowing that that kid has been in hiding for the last like 30 days. Well, until they found him. I want to say they found him on like August 26th or 28th, something around there. But for about 30 days, this kid's got to hide his face and he's got to get smuggled into a site just so they could smuggle him out of Gaza. He wasn't shot. He wasn't killed. Nothing happened to him. They verified his identity through biometrics. I even heard that they ended up doing facial recognition crap based on the photograph in that body cam video that they ended up having him down. So yeah, Autistic Army Assemble. Go track that dude down. Go track those women down. Figure out who those women are. And as you guys can see, right below me, right here, you guys have my X handle. Feel free to DM me when you figure out who they are, please. Austin McCullough coming in gifting I Speak the Truth membership. Thank you very much, Austin. This thing is like I've been living and breathing. Now, I also want to bring this up as well. I also want to bring up that I reached out. So I believe they got arrested by the Capitol Police over inside of D.C. And it's very interesting. I went over to the Capitol Police website because I wanted to FOIA the arrest. I also wanted to see if I could get their bail paperwork, if they were actually, put out on bail or a PR bond. I have no idea, to see who actually paid and signed for it. So I looked for that. Now, what I found was very interesting. The Freedom of Information Act doesn't actually apply to them, or they don't go by it. And so I had to send them an email. It wasn't very lengthy. It said who I am, what I do, what I've done for this story, and where I'm going and what I'm doing, and request the information. So I'm looking for his warrantless affidavit. I'm looking for the police report. I'm trying to figure out who his associates were, and I wanted to see if I could get a hold of his bond paperwork as well, if they actually bond him out or if they just hit him with a PR bond. Either way, I want to see it, right? Yeah. Now, this actually came out, earlier today, and I wanted to talk about it this morning, which I find is absolutely nuts. And it's just a random little filler story that I think is ridiculously interesting.
I think it's important to be honest, right? And so China's making great leaps in their space program. And it's important to note that their civil and military space program, there's no difference. They're all the same. And as you know, the U.S. comes in peace, right? We want our partners around the world to come together, and we want to win the second space race to the moon. But we know that China wants to get there before us. We're not going to let it happen. We hope we can do first part of the year. That is going to be a mission, a 4-man crew that's going to go out and around the moon. Artemis 3 is going to be when we land back on the moon. We're going to stay for a longer period of time, anywhere from 8 to 12 days on the moon. The longest time in the past was 3 days. And again, we're going to start sending payloads to the moon to start building our base camp. And then from there, again, we want to get in the early 30s to Mars. And this is critical. What we learn on the space station, what we learn on the mission to the moon is going to be critical to make sure we can sustain life. It's an 8+ month mission to Mars. And then you got to stay there, and then you got to come back. So again, it's critical lessons learned to make sure we can accomplish all those goals. I think it's important.
MARS. Mars. We're setting up a base camp on the moon, and the space race is back on. We are officially in a space race with China to set up a base camp on the moon and then to head out to Mars. Now, this is going to be really interesting because if China ends up coming out with fake moon footage, then I don't even know what all the conspiracy theorists are going to say. This is 2025. We better have better stuff, and I am going to die laughing. Die laughing. Well, I can't say that because I'm still skeptical on it, but I'm going to feel really relieved when we get up there if the American flag is still planted on the moon. Now, for those that don't know, there's also a little a big reflective piece that's sitting up there that you can shoot a freaking laser at, and it bounces back and it tells you how far away the moon is from the United States of America, which I just think is really cool. But let's get back to the subject matter at hand, which is everything that's going on overseas and whether or not it's going to be affecting us here at home. With that, we got to talk about the Freedom Flotilla.
Hello. People keep asking us to comment on Israeli officials' threats to imprison us volunteers on the Global Summit Flotilla as terrorists. And honestly, I don't think these statements are worth commenting on since they are completely baseless and have...
They're baseless. Freedom Flotilla, statements on them being terrorists. Greta says they're baseless. Do you guys think they're baseless? Now, I know we talked about the explosives and stuff that were on their boat last time. Clearly, they weren't attacked by a drone. Otherwise, they would have came out and been like, look, here is the ship actually getting targeted. I guess the cameras just magically flicked themselves on afterwards, They were able to capture all of that, but nothing else. Somebody ended up sending this to me from the Anti-Defamation League. I forget who you are. I'm sorry. I meant to write your name down before I came up. And I about died in my pants. On May 31st, 2010, after numerous warnings, IDF naval forces intercepted 6 ships en route to Gaza, which intended to break the Israeli blockade of Hamas's controlled Gaza. Flotilla was sponsored by the Free Gaza Movement, several European Palestinian solidarity movements, and Istanbul-based Islamic charity with ties to Hamas. During the operation, flotilla members on one ship, the Mavi Marmara, violently attacked the IDF with personal weapons, including knives, metal rods, clubs, purportedly live gunfire. In the resulting confrontation, 9 flotilla members were killed and more were wounded. Yusuf coming in, he says, in your best Arnold Schwarzenegger voice, say, "Get your ass to Maz." I can't do it, man. I can't do Arnie, man, but I tried. I hope that helps. I don't know. I just read that thing. I was just right off the freaking get-go, man, so I appreciate it. But yeah. Flotillas being sponsored by all of these organizations, the Free Gaza Movement and Isani Yardim Vakfi. Turns out they have a pretty big history of actually trying to break blockades and fighting with the IDF to the point where multiple members had to get killed after they ended up opening fire on them. It's kind of scary. Now, this came back from 2010. Here we are 15 years later. But then the question ensues, well, what the hell were explosives doing on their boat in the first place? I kind of want to know that, and you should as well. Why aren't these people demanding, like why isn't the IDF coming down? Now, I really think, thank you for my effort on Arnie, or whoever the hell it was. I tried. But why the hell wouldn't we sink those boats? Why wouldn't we take those people and throw them in there? Number one, they're trying to break a blockade for a genocide that's just, quite frankly, not existing. Every single rumor and thing that they end up coming out with, turns out there's a dirty human being behind every single one of it. And yet, the history of the flotillas themselves going to break the blockade have violent individuals, and last time they ended up having gosh dang explosives on them. Now, Israel right now has stacked up 60,000 reservists, and they're ready to go in and slaughter Gaza City and start taking care of all of the jihadists in there and go find their freaking hostages, which they should. And truthfully, it should have been done a year ago. Due to international pressure and everything else that we saw going on in this world, they didn't do it. They've slowed down. They took their sweet, sweet time, allowing people to flee certain regions, allowing them to do everything. Giving them warnings, dropping leaflets, doing all sorts of stuff to allow these people to get out. And undoubtedly, you had hostages that were being drug around and moved back and forth. Oh, it's the Pen 15 comment. I know that one now. You guys got me on that like 2 years ago, but I'm not new around here, buddy. Nope, not new around here. So Gaza City, right here. You guys are looking at it. That's where they're going. Now, the majority of the people in the camps and all of that other stuff have been pushed all the way down here, right, in this little zone. Everything in yellow, IDF currently owns. This one right here, this is where they're devoting the bulk of their freaking force, and that's where they're going to be going. They're going to be going in soon. Leaflets, phone calls, roof knocking, and yeah, it's pretty virtuous because no other military in history does the amount of crap that they do. And I'll tell you from my multiple years of combat experience, not one time did we go over and drop leaflets and tell people where to evacuate to and warn them that we're coming in before we go in and we do our stuff. So, yeah, it is pretty damn virtuous. And I'll tell you for damn sure, if there's a hostage on the objective, there's not a snowball's chance in hell we're telling them we're coming. Not going to happen. And that's something that's been happening every single freaking day of this war. Every single major operation they launch, every time they go to move into a new area, they're doing that. GHF is currently providing more food to the hands of the people inside Gaza than the World Food Program. There's currently days worth of humanitarian aid that's stacked up outside of the Karim Shalom border crossing, just waiting to get picked up. Waiting. And the World Food Program is failing to do so. They refuse to provide armed escorts. They continue to hire local national drivers. They refuse to allow the IDF to escort them. They've refused to allow GHF, to the best of my knowledge to this day, to escort them. And yes, Patrick Loudon, thank you for the donation, number one. Number two, yeah, I do think Iran's going to attack Israel when they enter in Gaza City. Why? Because we've seen Iran start to ramp up their crap over the last couple of days, talking about pulling out of the IAEA, or excuse me, out of the NPT, right? The Nuclear Non-Proliferation Agreement. They're talking about pulling out of that because they feel like the IAEA screwed them over in Israel's attacks, in the United States attacks. They feel like the IAEA ended up leaking out intel to Israel. And it wasn't intel that ended up getting leaked. It was just literally facts of where they found things in undeclared nuclear sites. So, yeah, it's obvious to me and pretty much everybody else that they were moving towards it. Now, Iran very clearly hates Israel and has been talking about wiping them off the map for a very long time. And they've been coming out stating that they are going to defend the people of Gaza. And this, quite literally, is Hamas's last stand. It's crazy to think that almost 2 years later, I can sit here and say that this is Hamas's last stand. Don Reed coming out, giving us Speak the Truth membership. Appreciate you. That doesn't mean that the fighting is going to end after this. That means that the majority of Hamas is going to be wiped out. There's a couple other places in the south, obviously, that they need to clear out. Obviously, they're going to be in tunnels. Obviously, you're going to have people lay down their weapons. You're going to have sleeper cells and all of that other crap. With that being said, they will end up getting crushed. There's no way you're getting past the 100,000 plus Israelis that are about to be descending on that frickin' city. And it's going to be a very bloody battle, and there's going to be a lot of propaganda. And that propaganda and that bloody battle is exactly why I'm sitting here having this conversation with you today. Because I'd like you guys to prepare yourselves. I've been stating it for the last several days, all week. You guys need to prepare yourselves, because there is going to be like crazy jihadists here in the United States. There's going to be whack job Palestinian supporters that are running around trying to shut down streets. And yeah, a lot of them get violent. Cases of kidnapping, police officers being assaulted, people getting stabbed, people being shot. All of that stuff is taking place at these different protests in the name of preventing genocide. And to be very clear, it's about clearing out Gaza City and finding those damn hostages. Weeks now. Weeks they've been warned. And we've seen plenty of evidence that Hamas is not allowing these people to leave Gaza City. The fact that Aboud and his mom had to disguise themselves just to make their way out and into a GHF point is very, very telling of the amount of control that Hamas still has over some of the unoccupied areas of the Gaza Strip, over some of the areas that Israel hasn't cleared out. So it's going to be bad. Israel's going to go in there. People are going to die. Make no mistake about it on both sides. It's not just going to be Hamas. I'm warning you right now. Israeli troops are going to die because of this. There's just way too many explosives laying in wait, way too many snipers, way too many rifles. It's going to be a poop show, ladies and gentlemen, when this thing kicks off. And in my opinion, yes, Iran is going to end up attacking back.
And here's the important point. The directive will not be given if Hamas chooses to hand over the hostages and surrender. And that is what Israel is waiting for the three countries that support Hamas and keep Hamas alive, which is Egypt, Qatar, and Turkey, for them to tell Hamas that the game's up and that they need to hand over the hostages. Otherwise, the Israelis will go in and take over Gaza City.
Right.
And it can be avoided, and I think it should be avoided. And I think that Hamas, out of a concern for Gazans, out of a concern for themselves, they should do that. But if they don't, Israel is now ready and staging to go in and do what's necessary in order to eventually defeat Hamas and bring back safety to Israelis.
And that is the point. If those hostages would have been turned over, we wouldn't be sitting in this in the first place. If Hamas had behaved differently, if the people of Palestine hadn't voted Hamas into power, you wouldn't be sitting here in the first place. If they weren't celebrating on the streets, if they weren't doing all of that crazy crap, we wouldn't be sitting here in the first place. Thank you for openly showing me who I need to put on mute over in the chat. I really appreciate that. That makes that really, really easy when you end up just putting Palestinian and Russian flags in the chat. Makes it really easy for me and the mods to know who we need to mute. So thank you for your stupidity. Now, here's the thing. If you want to spit your jihadic rhetoric, if you want to spit your communist rhetoric, go somewhere else. You can build your own YouTube channel. You can put in the work every single day. There's all sorts of stuff you can do. But the problem is nobody's going to listen to you. Nobody cares. Now, you can go out and you can grift and you can collect money from all of the different like organizations such as the Muslim Brotherhood or whoever it is that you want. But at the end of the day, this is going to be the result. And this isn't going to be the result because Israel just wants to go out there and demolish every building. That's the result because Hamas is hiding in those buildings and they have plenty of explosives. And in order to fight evil such as Hamas, you have to kill them. And that's what deadly force looks like. That's what the aftermath of 40,000 jihadists hiding in an area, the city the size of Las Vegas, that's what you get. Also, that's what you called sleeping in the bed that you made. those people that live there, those people that supported them, those people that are celebrating it, they get to sleep in the bed that they made. That, ladies and gentlemen, that is up on your screen right there, that is the bed that they made, so they can enjoy it. I can't express that enough. It's coming. And when it does come, it ain't going to be pretty. I promise you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me for another episode of the Speak the Truth podcast. If you haven't yet, make sure you are liked and subscribed to the channel. Squiggly coming in at the last minute, giving out 10 Speak the Truth memberships, and I think I missed a couple others along the way. I want to make sure I got Don Booze in there, and I want to give a special recognition to Asian Armament, because he came in becoming a true supporter as well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. Peace, love, happiness. God bless. Enjoy this jacked up city of Gaza, because it's about to look even better.